welcome to my first process video for March. So in this process video I have some really fun things. First, I have these pictures of boys. They are some family members of mine, and for their privacy that's all I'll say, but they are wearing pink, so we get to do a boy page with lots of pink on it today, and also some aquas and some wood grain. I'm going to use my Felicity Jane kit for February, and I'm going to use this pretty wood grain background paper as my background, and I'm going to play and do a good bit of mixed media and some fun things with some watercolors and paints and stencils. So this should be a really fun video. So you see me here start by trimming up this white cardstock, and I'm just going to make sure it's the right size for a map behind my photos here. And I'm going to use this white cardstock, and that's where I'm going to do a lot of my watercoloring and stenciled background, and it's going to be the background behind my photos. And now I'm trimming off the branding strips. So I'm looking at my papers, and I'm not looking at the designs of the paper, I'm just looking at the branding strips, because I know I want to create almost like a shelf for my photos to rest on in my layout, and I know I want to create that shelf by layering up some of the branding strips from the different papers in my kit. And this is a really great and fun way to use up the branding strips. A lot of manufacturers now are making them like really cute and fun and different, and the designs are now, a lot of manufacturers are also making designs go all the way 12 inches across the page, which I think is really cool. So those are my 3 branding strips I'm going to use, and now I'm going to get to work on this map behind my photo. I'm going to start by using this stencil. This stencil was part of a Felicity Jane kit a couple months back, and I'm going to use some Heidi Swapp texture paste in Rose. And I'm not being super careful about this. I want it to look messy. Even though this is, pink and shimmery, this page does feature boys, being, boys. So I wanted while the colors of my layout are pinks and mints, I want the polka dots and some of the mixed media to be fun and kind of messy to reflect, boys. So that's what I'm doing here, and pretty sure that not all this goes through. Yep, there we go, all finished. So see how it's kind of like messy, and I didn't care if the edges, if the texture paste went over the edges of the stencil. I'm just kind of filling it in, and that's how we're going to leave it, and then we're going to set it aside to dry, and we're going to work on the background paper. So what I did was I matched the branding strips that I want to use in my layout with some of my watercolors, and I'm making the watercolors really, really wet because I want to be able to throw little paint splashes all over the top portion of this pattern paper. I know I want to do this. I want to make it look a little messy and grungy. So I'm going to go ahead and use the 2 different shades of pink that are in the branding strips, and then I go ahead and find some aqua. The aqua is a little hard. I kind of start with the crushed pistachio and distress ink. So right now I'm just doing the pinks. So I chose a lighter pink and a darker pink, and I'm just going to go ahead and throw those all over the page till I get the look I'm going for. And now I'm going to use the cracked pistachio distress ink, and I'm going to water it down, and I have to really water it down to get it enough water and enough ink that I get the splashes the way I want. And this did take me a little bit of time. You have to get it really wet. You have to have a lot of distress ink on your acetate and a lot of the water so that your brush can grab the droplets and really throw them around, I guess. I don't know. So everything's liquid enough. So I got it to where I want it, and now I'm going to go ahead and let everything dry. And through the magic of video, you don't have to watch that part. So now I'm going to come back in, and I want to watercolor around the polka dotted stencil. So there's a lot of white in there, and I wanted to give it more color, and I wanted to pull in more of the aquas and more of the brighter pinks. So I decided it would be really fun to watercolor right around those dots. And I'm going to play a little bit. I really want the aqua green, but that cracked pistachio distress ink doesn't seem to be dark enough almost. So I come in with some pink, and then I'm going to blot it off. So what I'm doing is I'm getting my paintbrush really good and wet. And I'm putting a good bit of water and a good bit of paint on the cardstock, but then I'm immediately kind of blotting it off. That kind of keeps it from warping. For me anyway, it keeps it from warping, and it also keeps, since this is just cardstock, it's not any watercolor paper or anything, I don't want it to pill on me, so I go ahead and blot it right away. And here I am kind of testing. I know this middle is going to be covered by my pictures, so I'm just testing and seeing if I have a watercolor that really does a little bit better job than the Cracked Pistachio Distress Ink and really gets more of the green in there. So this is how our finished mat looks, and now we're going to go ahead and build our layout. So I'm going to start by inking all the edges with the vintage photo. I decided to do this because that background paper does have that light brown wood grain on it, and I thought that the vintage photo went really well and kind of brought out some of the wood grain that's in the background papers. So I decided that I want to add a little bit of a background to this mixed media. I just want a little bit of color to separate it from the background paper because the background paper is very light colored. So I decided I'm going to back it with a little bit of the mint green cardstock that came in the kit. And then I'm going to use that. Well, I'm going to take it up first and I'm going to put it back down. I'm kind of pushing it here because between the watercolor and the stencil and the texture paste, the cardstock did kind of want to warp a little bit, and putting that green behind it helped with the warping, but I wanted to make sure it was down nice and flat before I started to build my photos and things over it. And so I'm just going to trim it up, and then I'm going to go ahead and work on putting my pictures down. And so the next thing I did was I'm going to lay my pictures down, and I wanted them to be matted too. So as I was doing this layout, I wanted it to be fresh and springy or summery because the pictures were taken in August, and I wanted it to look really pretty but not girly, if that makes sense. So some of the things that I did to kind of make sure it didn't look girly is I didn't use any flowers on my layout. So I do use some hearts later on, but no flowers. And the other thing I did was I went ahead and I grabbed this pattern paper that I'm going to back the photos with, and I also used the black and white, and I'll bring in this pattern. It's in a couple places in some of the embellishments, and I'm going to use that black and white to kind of help to not have it be so girly. So I started out thinking I wanted this mat larger, and it covered up too much of the texture paste and too much of the watercolors, and I wanted you to see more of that grungy background. So I went ahead and pulled the pictures off of the large mat, and I put them on to small mats, and I individually went ahead and matted them together. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those branding strips. I'm going to go ahead and ink them up, and then I'm going to place them underneath my photos. I overlap them just a little bit, but I do get them, you'll see here after I glue them down. See, I'll start there, so a little bit above. So they just kind of touch the photos, and it almost looks like the photos are laying on them. And here they are, all the branding strips where I want them. Now I'm going to go ahead and work on my title. So my title, I just took my title from this set of clear stickers from the Maggie Holmes Bloom collection. They have all these really pretty clear words and phrases on them. So I took two words I really liked, happy and moments, and that'll be our title, happy moments. And these stickers, I don't know if anyone else has them or has used them yet, but my particular pack, they weren't stuck, like they weren't cut cleanly. So this title took me a long time it seems like everything took me a long time on this page because the stickers weren't stuck completely, or they weren't cut completely away from the clear sticker sheet. So I had to like really be careful that I didn't tear them or rip them when I put the title down. So now I'm going to go ahead and collect together all of the embellishments that I want to use. So what I have here is cut apart sheets from the Felicity Jane kit, and cork hearts from the Pink Paisley C'est La Vie collection, and also puffy stickers from the C'est La Vie collection. And those two things were add-ons that I added to my kit for some extra embellishments. So I'm going through all of the different embellishments, and I'm passing on all of the flowers. So I know I don't want any flowery embellishments. So what I'm pulling are things that have the black and white in them, or you'll see the tags above that I've placed above the photos. Those have repeat that same pattern, and I repeat that same pattern throughout the layout, that black and white pattern. And we also have some of them in green and some of the different things, but I intentionally passed on all of the flowers. And I actually have another photograph that I need to scrapbook from this photo shoot, and it's of the whole family together, and I think that's where my flowers are going. The two label stickers that are kind of a little bit over the picture at the top, I'm going to write the boys' names and their ages onto those labels. I'm not going to do it on camera, and I didn't do it in the pictures. I did it when I was completely done photographing the layout. Again, for privacy, because these aren't my kids, and while I do have permission to use their photos, I don't want to put a lot of personal information up on there. So I will add that information later. So I'm going to go down, start at the top of my layout, and I'm going to work my way through to the bottom of the layout, and I'm going to focus on each cluster. So I have 3 clusters set up, spots where I want to do some embellishing, and I'm going to work. This is how I do it. This is my process. I start with one cluster and I work one cluster at a time through my embellishing. So I'm just going to hit some of the highlights of embellishing and why I chose certain embellishments. I went ahead and did choose these Pink Paisley C'est La Vie cork hearts. The reason I chose them was because I thought they, they're not perfect. They're not like the puffy stickers where they're smooth and they have smooth edges. They're a little rustic, a little beat up, and they also pulled in, color-wise, they pulled in a little bit more of the brown from the wood grain background paper. And I went into my stash and I found some gold enamel dots. I only had, I think, 4 total, but they were the perfect shade of gold. So I do add them as in my tags and also at the top here. And then I kind of fake some enamel dot looking splatters down with some Heidi Shine later on. And that helped to kind of bring in the gold all the way around so it didn't look odd, just those 4 enamel dots at the top. But I used up a pack of enamel dots. Yay! So I'm going to go through here again, and this is the one thing on this layout that even now, I don't think I really like it. I like the banner, but I don't like, I'm going to pull this gold sticker off that says adorable, and I'm going to put it on the banner. And it was a cute idea, and I think if the banner, if the stickers weren't see-through, it would look really nice. But because the stickers are see-through, I feel like the pink makes it hard to read. So you'll see here, and that's the only part that of the layout that I'm just not real crazy about. But I think if I pulled it up, it would make a mess. So I don't want to make a mess. I would rather just leave it the way it is. And now all I think I have left to do on that top cluster is I'm going to outline it with my Muji pen, and just with black pen outline the banner with white and the tags with black. And now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work on this lower embellishment cluster. I'm going to choose one of the puffy stickers that says crazy because I thought it fit the personality of these little boys very well. And I also pulled a pink puffy sticker, but I kind of put it, like, tucked it in underneath just so I had 3 hearts and I had my nice visual triangle in that embellishment cluster. And there we are, ready to go. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to work on this bottom cluster, and I think for a little bit of this, it's right at the bottom of the camera, but it's a very kind of simple, quickly put together cluster. So I'm going to use a label sticker that I'm going to punch a roller date stamp on. I decided to punch a circle from a piece of black and white pattern paper to get that black and white pattern down into that bottom part of the layout. So now we have that pattern. It's almost like a broken chevron pattern, and it's a couple of different places now in my layout. And layer up a couple of things. I'm going to add one of those clear gold stickers, and that one says "So Cute." I'm going to add a gold foil heart and a cork heart to that bottom layout cluster. So then in each of our embellishment clusters, I have a cork heart, a gold foil heart, and I have that black and white patterned paper. And this is my roller date stamp. I have an older roller date stamp. It's a K & Company from, I think it's like a Smashbook roller date stamp, but it works really well and I like it, so I'll keep using it. And I think that's about it. I think the only thing left we have to do is some Heidi Swap Color Shine in Gold Lame. And I think I'm just finishing up this bottom piece. Oh, and if you look at the top of the page, the plus sign at the top of the page, that's going to go away because I'm going to realize that I have a gold foil heart at the bottom and I have a gold foil heart at the top. But I do not have a gold foil heart, or I have a gold foil heart at the bottom and to the right, but I don't have one at the top. So I'm going to replace that plus sign with a gold foil heart. And I do play with these puffy stickers. Like there's a little geo tag there that I really was thinking I wanted to add, and a couple other things, but ultimately I decided just to kind of keep it to the things that were in the other two clusters. And I was actually pretty impressed. This plus sign came up without tearing and without tearing my paper, and that might mean that these stickers will fall off eventually, but hopefully not. And I replace it with the gold heart. And now I'm going to put away a couple things apparently and grab some white cardstock to cover my photos. And oh no, wait, what am I doing? Oh, adding another. So that I have one of the gold word strips on all three of my embellishment clusters. And I think now is when I grab the Heidi Shine. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and just put a little Heidi Shine Gold Lame. And like I said, some of these droplets, I kind of made them, you know how you can do it so that they just drop perfectly. I kind of did that. So some of them look like splatters, but some look like drops. And I was hoping that would kind of fudge the gold enamel dots that I only have 4 of that are at the top. And that will complete the layout, just this little bit of Heidi Shine, and we are finished. I hope you have enjoyed this layout. I hope you've enjoyed watching me work with some adorable little boys and pink. And you'll stop back again soon. Have a wonderful day. Bye.